Hi, I'm Tyler, and welcome to another episode of my Christian Music Week reviews. Each week I take 5 releases, be it albums, EPs, or singles, and after I listen to them all week, I come back here and I review them, I share what I think about them. So what are we waiting for? Let's get to this week's first release, for King Country's new album. What are we waiting for? For King Country's new album, what are we waiting for? Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here. Stylistically, it's a pop sound that incorporates, at a lot of points, alternative elements, and at some points, contemporary elements as well. And then there are some points that are just straight up pop. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here too. For King Country talks about reflecting the love of Jesus and others who love us as troubled as we are, by loving others through the pain of being knocked down that we feel, through the same pain of being knocked down that we feel, even if they're different than we are. Up next, Sovereign Grace Music's new EP, Unchanging God. Songs from the Book of Psalms, Volume 1. Sovereign Grace Music's new EP, Unchanging God. Songs from the Book of Psalms, Volume 1. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good EP here. Stylistically, a worship sound that incorporates instrumentally piano, drum, electric guitar, acoustic guitar, bass guitar, and at times violin. Also, the opening song, How Great, has an upbeat pop rock worship feel. And as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics here. So as the title suggests, of the EP suggests, each song is based on a different psalm in the Book of Psalms. And while these songs aren't the psalms verbatim, you can definitely see in the lyrics how each psalm inspired that particular song. And now as for the lyrical theme here, the lyrical summary. So again, really love the lyrics. Talks about giving praise to our great everlasting Lord for how he protects us from evil. And even when we do face evil, how he in his love reigns above it, sustains us, and even when we have to wait on him to do so, he causes the evil to fade. Up next, Wolves at the Gate's new album, Eulogies. Wolves at the Gate's new album, Eulogies. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good album here, stylistically, metal first and foremost. Definitely some hard rock songs on here for sure. And then some alternative influence as well. Most of the songs are heavy, though we get 2 ballads on this album. Vocally here, screaming, sing, and screaming all make their way onto this album. Surprisingly, not all the heavy songs feature scream vocals on them, which is surprising given a metal album. And as for the lyrics here, love the lyrics to this album. Talks about how, Wolves at the Gate talk about how the devil made them think they were hopelessly condemned because of their sin to the dark of doubt, guilt, and death. But Jesus died on the cross to free them from that and victoriously bring their dead hearts to life. Wolves at the Gate also talks about how Jesus' death on the cross, achieving that, shows that they can rise above the temporary storms of life to somewhere better. Up next, Switch's new EP, Better View, Part 2. Switch's new EP, Better View, Part 2. Let's dive into it. But before I do, let me just say, I reviewed Part 1 as well in a separate video on this channel when that EP released. So if you want to go back and hear my thoughts on that, you can after this video is done. But let's talk about Part 2 right now. So, pretty good EP here, stylistically. Mostly an upbeat pop EP here, with some hip-hop elements inserted in. But there are also 2 pop worship ballads. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Talks about how we don't have to have it all together when we feel at our end and because we don't know what's coming next. But we can come alive when we surrender our plans to the God who in his everlasting love is in control of our futures. Up next, our last release for today, Coby James' new single, a cover of Mary Mary's song Shackles, Praise You, which features Evive, McKinney. So before I dive into my thoughts on Coby James' cover of Mary Mary's Shackles, Praise You, featuring Evive, McKinney, let me just say this came across as a request from You Can't Have It, the Raleigh Girl. Thanks, You Can't Have It, the Raleigh Girl, for requesting this cover, this single. Let's dive into it. So, pretty good cover here. Stylistically, it's a danceable pop cover with some groove from the bass guitar. And then some some throwback hip-hop elements at the end there. The transition to the bridge threw me off a little bit, though. And as for the lyrics here, pretty good lyrics here. Coby talks about how he can dance and lift his hands in praise now that God has broke him free from the shackles of his trials. Well, that's it for this week. Come back next week for 5 more releases. Did you like what you saw in this video? Please subscribe. I put out videos every Friday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. Also, while I'm on the subject of time, let me just say I'm going to have a bonus video on Monday. So I received a request from You Can't Have It, the Raleigh Girl, and thanks again for requesting this. The deluxe edition of Jordan Felice's album, Say It, and she suggests that I do a bonus video on it. So I'll be doing that on Monday. Also, too, since I reviewed the regular edition of Say It before, to give something new here, I also went back and did her previously, and I'm currently doing, I should say, her previously unhonored request of Coby's album, latest album, Coma. So, you can look forward to my thoughts on Jordan Felice and Coby this Monday. Also, if you have any thoughts on today's releases or what I may have said about them, let me know down in the comments below. Also in the comments, you can let me know if there's any awesome releases that came out today that you want to see in next week's video. Also, check out the playlist section for my Music Muffin Dreams playlist available here on YouTube and also on Spotify. And this month's edition of the playlist includes songs from artists like Corey Asbury, Swoop, Trip Lee, Mosaic MSC, and others. So go and check that out if you're interested. Well, go now. See you next week. See you on Monday. And then see you next week on Friday for a full-length video. Well, go now. See you next time. Bye.